Well, welcome in Candice, Michele,
Yeah.
Jang, Mays.
I know.
Awesome.
This is a long time coming. We've been doing this for so long.
Praise God. And we'll get to that for those of you who are listening or watching. It's like, what does he mean? He doesn't know his own daughter's name? Well, first of all, she could tell you I mess her name up all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
and he named me.
Yeah. So, but thank you for your time. Like real talk. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
I have wanted to get you on here because I know you have a story. Mm-hmm. And I know you have so much to offer people. And sometimes we just need that push. We were watching a movie recently called The Grinch. And one of the things that Michele was saying was, sometimes you just need that push. So today is your push.
My push.
And so if you would get started, just kind of share, if you don't mind, your faith journey. How in the world did you get to a place where you said, I'm going to follow Jesus? What was that like and how has that been?
Well, I grew up in the church. Yeah, that was really kind of how it all started for me. But there's a lot of people that grow up in the church or their family takes them to church or they've kind of always known who don't stay. So I guess technically just because I grew up in it doesn't mean I had to stay. But I guess growing up, I've just always had this connection or feeling or spirituality or whatever, and I know there are a lot of things that could be explained with different things, but for me I always just explained it as God. And so there's just been so many moments in my life where I'm like, well, if that's not God, I don't know what is. Just so many things that have happened, and also just looking at the path that my life took, it's like, wow, that had to be God. So like I said, starting off, I kind of was forced. Yeah. So it was kind of the only thing I knew. But moving forward, I think once I went to college and I was making my own decisions, just everything that happened in my life, I did make the decision to accept that was God instead of that was me or whatever, because I am not smart enough to get myself out of the situations that I got myself out of. Yeah. So I just kind of had to be. But yeah, I think that's.
Praise God. So I know how you grew up. You're the first person who has been on this episode that I've known them every day of their life. Mm-hmm. Even though we had that 7-month split when I went off to Desert Storm and we're growing.
Yeah, I was a baby, so I don't remember.
So I know a lot of the things in your life, and you may not remember this, or you might remember this, but I want to share with our listeners. One of the things that and I still come back to this, to me, I come back to this as the foundation of who you are in Jesus Christ. We had a retreat in Monterey, California. Mm-hmm. And I said, Candice, will you teach a class? Now, whether or not you felt qualified or ready for it, it's irrelevant. I will never forget that 7-8-year-old Candice Mays stood in front of those high school kids and taught Acts chapter 9. I will never forget that. I even remember what you were teaching. And doesn't matter if it was good or bad, doesn't matter. The fact that you had the guts.
I feel like that's just his way of saying it was bad, but he's still proud.
No. I think the reason why I'm saying it like that is because maybe you thought it was. Because you know how we're our own worst critics. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, it wasn't any good. So I'm saying it just in case in your mind you're thinking, oh, that wasn't any good. Mm-hmm. But that for me, do you even recall that?
Yeah, I remember it.
Do you remember your thoughts when you?
Oh no, I don't remember all that. But
I was hoping
I
you could
remember.
share.
I remember I remember that retreat for sure. It was a very spiritual retreat. I do remember, either the last night or the night.
That last night was no joke.
That was insane.
That's its own podcast.
But yeah, I do remember, and I'm sure because just knowing me at that time in my life, I'm sure I was extremely nervous, but I probably wanted to make you proud, just because like knowing me. So that, yeah, probably that just was very nervous, but I wanted to make you proud.
Praise God. Well, I will tell you another time you made me very proud. Singing.
Oh gosh.
Just a couple years later. Oh my gosh, what was the name of the song?
Glory? No.
Glory was in that same time. But we left and we went to Monterey or Hanam Village, South Korea. And I'll never forget that. You got on that stage and you were singing. It was a Jackie Velasquez song.
Yeah, it was not on my knees.
If
This World.
If This World. Did you sing? And the other young lady, Monica, sang
On My Knees.
Yeah. You killed it. I think I still have that.
Probably.
If I can find that, I may post that.
No.
Don't post it. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you will not be getting that on the podcast.
Maybe one day, but not.
But that's another thing. I think I'm slowly turning this episode into a montage to my daughter and how
my performance.
Amazing.
So we knew I was going to be a performer since I was a child, clearly.
Right. But I remember talking to you about getting the audience involved. I remember talking to you about that, and you were kind of like, and bigger than Stuttgart, you're out there on this stage pretty much by yourself. There's a track in the background, and you're hyping the crowd. So I will never forget that. Do you even remember what was going through your mind, or you even remember at that point?
At that point, I don't remember what was going on. I remember the event, but I don't remember what was. Honestly, probably the same thing that goes through my mind any other time I have to perform. Just, I really do feel like I was born to be a performer. So, I mean, it's one of the times in my, like, the most times that I feel the most joy and the most comfort, so I just kind of feel like that must be what I was meant to be doing. So probably even at that age, that just kind of kicked in, that natural, like, I like to perform. So, and also especially when you're performing live, it is instant gratification and instant validation, because you can tell if people like it or not. Especially now as an actor, when I'm on, like, if I'm doing TV or movie, I don't know if people like it until it comes out, however long it comes out. Yeah. But when you're on stage, right there, you get the applause, you get the, so probably at that time, I just went into performance mode. And a lot of times when I'm in that, it's kind of almost like I black out because I don't know what's going on, but I just know that this performer persona kind of comes out.
So that's fascinating. I want to get your opinion on this. The Bible tells us that if you're a teacher, then teach. If you're a leader, then lead. If you're a server, then serve. And so I think we just read this in Romans recently. You just said something. I'm a performer, and I just kind of black out and I just perform. Would you attribute your performing to maybe your gifting from God? And then if so, how do you kind of deal with that? Because it can be difficult when that's your gifting, but you said earlier, I was nervous, when you were looking. So how do you, I don't know if I'm asking a good question. Or...
I think I get it.
Okay.
So you were asking, how does that feel like for me in terms of...
But it seems like that's your gift, your God-given gift.
Well, I think, honestly, anytime I have any sort of performance, even to this day, even when I have an audition or when I have whatever, I do always, like, pray before. And I also pray after, because I just want to give myself peace of mind to remember why I'm doing this and just allow God to remind me of that, and find the joy in that, or else I would probably lose my mind if I was just always freaking out or, like, always, stressing out. But I think that like I said, when when I was doing FOB or any sort of dancing or that kind of performance or anything like that, I just always find that it's even though I'm nervous because of my need for succeeding and fear of failure and all that stuff, which you already know about, even though I have all of that, performing still brings me this joy and this peace. And I think that my body has, or my mind and body has just kind of learned to like, okay, you're nervous, but sometimes you can use that and fuel yourself, or you're just going to go into it and you're going to do it. You know what you're doing. And so even though I'm very nervous, I think on some level there's a trust that it's going to work out, it's going to be okay, because this is kind of what I live for. So I think that's basically, for me, the best way that I kind of deal with it, just trusting in that moment, trusting in me. It's like one of the few times that I actually do trust myself, but we can't get into that. That's a whole therapy session. But yeah, I think I do trust that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And so I trust that when it's time, I will do it. And I do. And I usually do come through. I think this is the rare time that I do always come through for myself, and I don't ever let myself down. So I think that helps a lot. And then, like I said, I do pray before and after, just to kind of remind myself to have peace of mind. But yeah.
I think you as you're saying this, you know me, passages just coming. And so I'm thinking about when Paul writes to the Philippians in chapter 4 of his book. He says, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything with prayer and supplications, take it before the Lord. And then he says, and the peace of God will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. But he says, the peace that passes all understanding. You can't even understand it. And to me, that's what it sounds like you're saying. I'm nervous. I got these hang-ups, like you said, that you know about.
Yeah.
Yet, when it's time, when the camera comes on, you're there for yourself. And it seems to me like that is corroboration that God has gifted you with this ability to act. So I have a question.
Okay.
There's a listener out there who thinks they have a gifting, who wants to do this thing. Just to unpack a couple of things that they don't know about, but we do. In Lakeland, Florida, you were talking about being an assistant director. You wanted to work behind the camera. You moved to Atlanta. And something happens, and maybe you can talk us through that, where you have a breakthrough, a personal breakthrough, and you go, I don't want to work behind the camera. This is for in front of the camera.
Oh, it is. Can't miss out.
So how do you share with our listener? Because you broke through. Now you're doing what God called you to do, but that isn't kind of where you're going. If you could muddle through and share with them.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. Like we all know this. Maybe I never admitted to it to anybody, or maybe I did. I don't really know. But I've always loved TV and movies, and that was always the thing that I was doing. That was like the worst punishment, was not being able to watch TV. I always knew that I wanted to be an actor and perform. But I convinced myself that I would never make it. There's no way I would ever be on anyone's TV. I would never, there's no way. Being an actor is so hard. One, because so many people want to do it, and there's only so many roles. So, for one role, you got hundreds of people auditioning for that one role, and only one person can have it. So, you do the math. That's hard. Those odds are very, very difficult, and I don't think people really comprehend just how hard that is. but I did as a little girl. And so I was very like, well, that will never happen to me. Like, why even try? So I just didn't. I just was like, no, like, I'm not going to pursue that, even though I really wanted to. But then as I got older, I still really loved performing, and I still loved movies and TV and all that stuff in the entertainment industry. And so I was like, well, if I can't be on TV, then at least I can still be a part of it this way, if I'm like part of a crew or part of the production side of it. So that was kind of where my mind was like, okay, like this will just be me at least getting to be where I want to be, even though I'm not doing what I want to be doing. So I did that. But then when I got to Atlanta, and I did background work, like I was an extra for a good amount of time. But the very, very first extra gig that I booked, I ended up getting the coveted bump, which is what like every extra wants. Well, maybe not every extra, but any extra who wants to be an actor, you want to get the bump. And the bump is just basically you now have a line, which then bumps you from background to talent. And so like everybody wants that. And on my very, very first, like I had never worked background ever, but that was the first one that I did, and I got a line, and it actually was still in the movie. And so that when that happened, once again, you can take that as whatever you want, but I chose to see that as a message from God, like being like, I told you were going to be, like, this is what you were supposed to be doing. And I knew that was what I always wanted to be doing, but I took myself out of the running out of fear. And I basically didn't give myself a chance. And so when I did finally put myself into a situation where I was on camera, the first thing that happens is I get a line. Like that is so rare. It's so rare to get a bump in general, but to get your bump the very first project was to me, I was like, oh, well, I can't like throw away this sign, especially considering this is what I've always wanted to do. So after that, I decided to actually and genuinely pursue acting. So I started going to classes. I, started trying to get an agent, all that stuff. By the way, for anybody who is listening who wants to be an actor, please go to class. Please go to class. If you are taking your craft seriously, and whatever you do, even as like an athlete, they practice, they train. You should do the same thing as an actor too. Like everybody trains. If you really, truly are passionate about something, why wouldn't you want to work on it and do your best at it? If you're just sitting at home hoping that it happens, then that's not how this works. Well, maybe for some people. This industry is very unpredictable. So maybe for some, but to think that is the rule and not the exception is that, no. So go to class, please. Anyway, moving on. So I went to class, and I started genuinely pursuing. I still did some background work to kind of get myself on set and learn the process of being on set. And then I just kind of kept working. I mean, there's no, and it sucks, there is no like, if you do this, you will make it. There is none of that. There is a bit of luck. And I know people in this industry hate when people talk about the luck aspect, but there is. To say like, oh, if you work hard, you'll make it. There's so many people working hard that it doesn't happen because they're not in specific positions, specific opportunities. So as much as I know I work very hard, but I also know that there are some moments that have been, some opportunities that have been given to me that were out of luck. I happened to find the right teacher that happens to know certain casting directors. And that casting director gave me my, referral for my agent. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, I did the work for my teacher to deem me worthy to put her name on the line to the casting director to be like, hey, can you give her a referral? Also, I had already booked with that casting director, so they knew my work. So, yes, like, I did work hard, but I also knew the right people. That helps, So it's not just hard work. It's hard work meeting people, networking, and then a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
You know, and so that kind of is what got me to where I am today. But really, me choosing to fully 100% commit to becoming an actor happened because I just couldn't stay away.
Yeah,
I really I couldn't stay away from the life. You know, I wanted to be a therapist. Like that's what I was going to school for. But then I couldn't. I got an internship at a production company in Lakeland. Really super grateful for them. And then I moved up here. And then all of that just kind of happened. Just the really awesome opportunity, and then moving from there. And then now I'm here, and I've got a really great agent. I've gotten some amazing opportunities, just audition wise, even just that. And the other thing that's really difficult about this industry is there really isn't like a you made it, that satisfies most people that are not in the industry. Because I mean, the number one thing when I tell people I'm an actor is like, oh, what have I seen you in? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you watch? I don't know what you've seen.
Well, hold on. That's kind of cool right there. I don't know. What did you watch? Is a lot different than the person who has to say, well, nothing yet, but I'm working.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that is true.
That was a little flex.
And I'm super grateful for that opportunity. But even the person who says like, oh, nothing, but I feel like it's that person who's like, I haven't been in anything yet. They're like now looked down upon. It's like, oh, well, then you're not a real actor. Yes, they are.
Right.
You are a real actor if you are genuinely pursuing this, like really actually genuinely pursuing it. You are taking the classes. You are doing the student films. You're making your own content because like that's what you got to do. You're getting any audition, or even if you don't get an audition, that's fine too. But if you are actively working towards and trying to make this happen, you're an actor. Like that's majority of actors are doing that. That is the life. And for people who aren't actors, all they see is the A-list people, the top people that are doing all these, that are in everything, and they have the millions, and that is like just the smallest percentage of this industry. Majority of actors can barely afford to live just from acting. That's been the whole issue with the strike. That was the whole reason we went on strike, because of the majority, not the minority, which is the rich A-list people. But yeah, so I feel like a lot of people can tend to see acting as or like, oh, it's not that difficult. But I always say if it's not hard, then there would never be a bad actor.
Yeah.
I mean,
and everybody would be doing it.
Everybody would be doing it. But yeah, so that was for me, I guess my turning point was just doing that, and then realizing all of this stuff, and also coming to these, which was a very difficult journey for me, was coming to the realization of, oh, I am an actor, even if I'm not doing what people think I need to be doing, even if I'm not booking series regular roles all the time, or like lead roles, or like, ooh, I'm flying to LA, or I'm flying to, like, even though I'm not doing that all the time, I'm still an actor. Right. And having to remind myself that, which is very hard. And I do go through some like depressions, because I'm not doing what I thought I should be doing. But as my auditions have kind of changed, like my auditions started from like one word, one line, very small roles, which there's nothing wrong with that. I've done a few of those. And then now they're like series regular, recurring guest star, lead, supporting in a movie. Like those are my auditions now. But I had to like kind of work my way up to that. And that right there, the fact that my agents are like, oh yeah, I think she can do that. And the casting directors are like, oh yeah, I think she can do that. That to me is a victory. Those are the victories that you have to find in this industry when you're not booking, or when you're not doing what you want to do. Which I feel like I have just completely moved away from the question that you initially asked.
It's okay.
But
it's letting people know who you are.
This is how we talk, though. Yeah. We just move and move from topic to topic. But I did stay, didn't he? But I did stay
There's
on
a cat in
topic.
the other room.
There's two. I stayed on topic, but I just kind of changed it up. I don't remember the question at this point.
What we were trying to do was help that person who wants to do something, who maybe has a gifting in an area. Your gifting, we've kind of discussed and learned here, it's acting. And so
I would
maybe
say performing.
Maybe their gifting is cooking, serving people, and they want to, I hate to go from cooking to opening a restaurant, because there's things in between there, but maybe that's kind of their thing. And so I feel like, even though you got off topic, I don't really think you did. I think if you're listening, go back and listen to everything that she said, because everything that you said was the process. The process of, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, just to condense it for you out there, what I was basically saying was, if there is something that you want to do, you work at it. Put your everything into it. Work hard. And when things don't work out, don't take that as, well, I need to quit.
That's good.
Keep going. And maybe it might never work out. I know most people don't like to say that, but I'm very honest. You can ask anybody. I'm a very blunt, honest person. I'm not going to lie to you. It may never happen. But would you really want to be on your deathbed one day being like, man, I wish I had tried? Or would you be like, you know what? I know it never happened, but I gave it my all. That really is what matters, is you gave it your all. You never gave up. Yeah, okay, it didn't happen, but nobody will ever be able to say that you didn't try. And you did. And that there's nothing wrong. That is a beautiful thing. So I think if you do want to open a restaurant, or if you want to be a content creator, or if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, or anything that you want to be, you just put your all into it. Work hard, and don't think about the succeeding. Don't think about the succeeding or the failing. Think about just your journey and the amount of effort that you are putting into it, and consider that the win, that you didn't give up. That's a win. And that's all that matters.
Kobe Bryant said that same thing.
Mamba mentality.
But he really did say that same thing. He said, did you really fail? Because you grew in the journey. And that's what you're saying, is that you're growing in the journey.
Yeah.
I'm going to start to land this podcast.
Yeah, because we could talk forever.
Amen. Is there a Bible verse that kind of gets you through? You're sitting in your car, audition didn't go how you wanted, or you got the phone call that said, or no, you don't even really get phone calls.
Sometimes I did get a phone call for the movie that I did last year in New Orleans.
Yeah, but you did the movie. I'm talking about like I applied for a job to be a basketball coach. I did not get the job. I got a phone call that said,
you mean when I don't get it?
Right.
Oh yeah, you don't get nothing.
Right. And so you're sitting with your own thoughts, and it's been a week. So you figure they probably have already made the choice, and it wasn't me again. I'll say this real quick. When Michelle started down this road, to comfort me, she said, well, Dad, you might get 100 no's. She said, but on that 101st, you still get a no.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true.
So is there some, where is there somewhere in the Bible that you're like, I'm going to this is going to be my go-to verse right here.
It's very, very cliche, but Proverbs 3:5.
Oh.
That is, especially, there's so much I don't understand about this industry. And so if I don't book a role, I may have thought that I did the best that I could possibly do. But the reality is, when they cast people, they don't always cast the most talented. They don't always cast, sometimes it really is about looks, or not looks in terms of you're beautiful, but looks in terms of
you be getting all the roles.
Oh my gosh. Anywho, I think it's more looks the person that I'm opposite in the scene is 6'2". I'm 5'3". That's too much of a difference. We need someone that's 5'8", or you know what I mean? Sometimes that really does matter. Or if I'm in the scene with a lead person, the lead person looks just like me, then they probably don't want someone that looks just like her. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's literally
Things you have no
things that
control
I have
over.
no control over. Or, sometimes it's followers. Sometimes they're like, oh, this person has 1 million followers. This person has 500,000. We're going to get the million. I learned very, very early in this career that you have no control over that kind of stuff. You only have control over what you bring to the table.
That's good.
And so, Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Oh, it's time for them to eat. Oh, they came out already. Cuties. Sorry.
Welcome to Conversation with Michele Jang.
This is true.
And right back in.
ADHD. But yeah, there's so much that I don't understand. And if I tried to lean on my own understanding, I probably would have quit way long ago. I think I've now been doing this for 6 years, because 2017 is when I really started. So 6 years.
Well, 2016 is when you did the movie.
Yeah, but I didn't I didn't make my decision.
Oh. Okay.
I was still kind of on it, but 2017 is when I really made the decision, and I started taking class, and I started trying to do all that stuff. But yeah, if I would have been leaning on my own understanding, I probably would have quit by now.
I was gonna end the podcast, but I think it's important right now for you to share, because people are just, 2016, she got the thing, 2017. They don't understand what I know because I lived it with you. 2016, you close on Life of the Party. How much stuff did you book in 2017?
Nothing.
So, come on, look in the camera and tell me.
Nothing.
Zip, zop, nada, as they say,
Nada.
squadoosh. But
Squadoosh.
but you're going to class.
Yep.
Were you auditioning?
No, I
Maybe
didn't have an
not.
agent either.
No agent.
I didn't have an agent.
No audition.
I tried to get an agent, but they said no. You need to go to class.
And this is all in
That was in 2017.
when you made the decision.
Yeah, which the fact that they even sent me any sort of anything was really cool, because they didn't have to. Usually when it's a no, it's a bye.
So you got some feedback.
But yeah, that agency, I'm really grateful to them. I never worked with them or anything like that, but I'm grateful because they're the reason that I started taking class, because of their rejection. Their email was like, we feel like you have some raw talent, but you need to go take some classes before we're ready to represent you. And I was like, dang, got me. So that's how I ended up going to classes, and that's how I actually met my now teacher, and my mentor, number one mentor, the Working Actor Group. If you're in Atlanta, please go see them. This
Y'all
is not
know
sponsored.
we do shameless plugs.
This is not sponsored. I just love them so much. But the Working Actor Group has truly just
Website in the description.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, show notes.
But yeah, so didn't book anything, didn't do anything. Now I will say my career compared to other people has been pretty decent, because it really was 2017. Then 2018, I did get an agent.
But you booked at the end of the year.
I booked multiple times at the end of the year.
Right. Oh, I know.
Oh yeah. And one of them was Black Lightning. I was only supposed to be in that one scene with that one line.
Right.
And then
I'm gonna have to ask.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yep.
So-and-so,
There you
Agent
go.
so-and-so.
Yeah, that one. I was only supposed to do that, and then like a week later, I get an email from my agent, and they're like, "They want you back to kill you."
Yeah. I'm still looking for him. Black Lightning season 2, episode 13 and 14.
Dang, he was ready.
Oh, that's your girl.
But I'm not like my character. My character's not likable. Hopefully, I'm likable.
Your character wasn't bad.
Yes, she was. She was attitudinal.
Your character was really good.
Oh.
In Black Lightning?
She was not a good character.
I felt like she was really good. Go watch episode Black Lightning season 2, episode 13 and 14, and then holla back. You tell us what you think.
She had an attitude to the main girl in the
Right,
so,
but she didn't know better. She was a technician.
Oh my!
She's just doing her job.
She clearly knows better. In the second episode that I was in, I knew what I was doing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. There's a reason I was killed.
This feed doesn't exist.
But
the
but
people
yeah,
in this room, the only ones who know. Oh, I watched the scene more than once.
Yeah. That was really fun because that was unexpected. That was not planned. Like they never said it was going to be too. So I got a recurring little moment there, and then I did Brockmire, which was super fun.
That was
a lot of fun. But then 2019, nothing. 2020, well, I mean.
The vid.
2020. 2021, I did book a few. That was when I booked commercials, like a bunch of commercials. And then 2022, I booked a TV show and a movie.
Did I see the TV show?
No, because I didn't make... That was the first time that my scene didn't make it.
I'm looking for them, too.
Well, I didn't actually even film it.
Yeah. You went. I remember. You went.
We did rehearsals.
Ate their food.
Yeah. Oh, it was good. I did rehearsals. It was me and one other person. Both of us ended up getting completely... I did watch the scene. So instead of having us, they just sent a text message. So instead. Which, I get it. But... that was still a fun time. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I still booked the role, so I don't. You can say whatever you want. I still got it. Yeah. And then I did the movie. I can't really. Oh wait, I can say it now.
Because they went to.
But I don't know. I don't know if I made it in the movie, but I was in the movie Hitman.
So Men.
Hitman.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It did pretty well at the festivals, but yeah, that was a fun day. And then this year I've gotten to do a few commercials as well.
Yeah. When
but then the strike happened, so
when did you do the Fleet Feet commercial?
That was this year in like May or April, March.
If I remember, I'll put that in the. I'll put the YouTube link in the.
And then the other one just came out. The other commercial that I did where I actually have lines. It was the first commercial that I finally had like legitimate lines.
You had lines in the Fleet Feet commercial.
Yeah, but it was really more about...
It was great. But we could be here all day.
Oh, Lord.
Will you give the people a word of encouragement? You've done a lot of encouraging. A word of encouragement, and we'll get out of here.
Okay. This is so much pressure. One word? No, I'm just kidding. I think as long as you are happy with what you are doing, don't worry about anything else. Because... as long as you are proud of it, regardless of success, failure, other people's judgments, it don't matter.
That's good.
As long as you are happy with what you are doing, the work that you are putting in, the production that is coming out of it, the product, I guess. If you are happy with that, if you are proud of it, end of story.
Let that be the final word. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. I had a good time.